What is up, gamers, and welcome back to another episode of Tales of Arise. I was gonna say I don't actually remember what this place is called, but pretty much last episode we saw the Renan homeworld to kind of blossom into a flower for some unknown reason, which I'm sure we're about to find out why it did that. Well, we kind of found out why. Well, we found out why. It's draining energy from Dahna. It kind of used Lanagus as like an amplifier. You can see in here there is kind of when we versed the Red Woman, though it's a purple version. Even though he works, it's kind of designed to do what the giant celestial beast or whatever they call it, astral energy beast is of Rena. He kind of wants us to destroy it, which is what we're currently doing now. But obviously we're getting some more, kind of going for exploring. Hopefully going to get some more answers. We did get a lot of answers last episode, which I'm grateful, because for once we actually got answers and not many questions. Usually we get a million questions and only like one answer. But that being said too, I'm hoping today will be the day that Demon Slayer and Guardians will finally be able to go up. Yeah, if you haven't been aware, they're pretty much being blocked from 90% of the audience due to the songs in there. So, and some songs are like 58 minutes, so they take like 20 hours to render out. So they're both down to their last song, so hopefully they'll be up today finally, and I'll be able to start getting more episodes out. And just hopefully, for the life of me, that the rest don't get picked up as heavily as these two did. But anyway, just quick note on that. But yeah, we're gonna jump straight into this. So we are.
Who are they?
What is it?
Oh, my apologies.
He looks familiar.
It's just been so long since I've seen any humans from the outside world.
Are you a Renan?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. The Overseer told us to answer any questions you might have. Whatever you want to know, we'll tell you as much as we can. But be quick. Our subjects are undergoing a dramatic shift that we don't want to miss.
What a weird guy.
He must have meant Hevrect 35 when he mentioned that Overseer.
And what was that about subjects? You don't think he meant Dahna and Rena, do you?
There isn't anyone else we can talk to. I guess we should ask around here.
Alright, one thing I will say is we did kind of find out yesterday that the Red Woman isn't actually what the Red Woman is. It's kind of like a disguise they use, which makes sense why there's a million of them, because they just keep coming out. So it's not actually their true form. I'm kind of curious of what their true form looks like, though. That's one thing I am
Have you guys lived
intrigued
up here
in.
in Dig Faisal with Hevrect 35
That's
for
Ren.
a long time?
Whatever you pronounce the name.
Yes. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head just how long it's been, though. We regularly go into stasis, so our sense of time has gotten rather out of whack over the years.
Why are you all even here in the first place?
Originally, this station was where we worked to perform maintenance on Lanagus from the outside.
We heard that the facility ended up in its current location due to an accident.
Oh, it was terrible. Apparently there was some kind of accident, and when help never arrived, they presumed the entire facility had been destroyed.
And you've been working for Hevrect 35 ever since?
Well, at first we
I
thought that
apologize,
there was nobody else
you guys
inside
can hear
the
that
facility,
annoying ass
but
dog.
then
I don't
turned
think it's
out
next door. I think it's the
overseer
house
was there
next
all
to it,
along.
but it's really
What do you
loud.
mean?
The Helganquil have the technology to cloak themselves around us Renans. As long as they don't do anything obvious, a Renan won't see one, even if it's right in front of them.
Which would explain why Shion and I failed to notice the Red Women previously. Do they employ an astral art of some sort?
I haven't been able to scientifically confirm it for myself, but from what I understand, the type of cloaking they use is primarily achieved through mechanical means. In addition,
Clearly saw them
they
from
also
me
use
seeing them.
hypnosis
The only time I
devices
ever
and
saw the Red
information
Woman
control
was
to get
in
us to
front
do what
of
they wanted without being
Valoran.
detected.
Didn't see it in front of anyone else.
It's a pretty sophisticated operation, especially since it avoids any unnecessary conflict. I have to imagine that's how Lanagus is still run.
But aren't the Helganquil themselves controlled by the Great Spirit? If so, why aren't Renans affected by it in the same way?
The Great Spirit's mind control only works on Helganquil, so they had to employ other means to manipulate us Renans.
You act like this didn't affect you personally. If I was you, I'd be mad as hell at their deceptions.
I mean, sure, I was surprised when I first found out about it, but it happened so long ago.
Heveric 35 has clearly ceased concealing itself, though. Why is that?
Who can say? My guess is it just got bored, or maybe even a little lonely.
Don't you want to go back home to Rena or Lenegis? Our ship is going to be fixed pretty soon. You could ride with us.
No way. If we went back after knowing the truth, they'd either just brainwash us or purge us outright. After all this time,
Gotta be honest, Lenegis is probably the place you don't want to be with at the moment.
We've all agreed it'd be best to simply stay here and watch everything unfold instead. Things are going just fine with the Overseer. Not that it'll be around much longer. It can't extend its life any further. That said, I'm sure it's pleased to see the final stage of the plan before it passes on, though.
Thank you for answering our questions.
How would you live on Lenegis? Not Lenegis, Rena. Rena just turned to a giant flower. I don't know how well the place is livable, but I mean, I guess we won't really find out till we actually get to Rena.
Can we talk to you for a few minutes?
Sure. It's going to be a while before the two planets undergo their next shift, so I can talk until then.
Please, tell us what you know about the Helganquil.
You mean the Overseer's species? I can't say I know much about them.
Well, for starters, where'd they come from?
Where else? From Rena, obviously.
From Rena? Wait, are you telling us those things live right alongside the Renans down there?
Of course not. There's really no such thing as Renans in the first place.
Excuse me?
What?
I thought the Overseer explained everything.
Does the Overseer just not know everything, or is it just leaving out crucial parts?
In a nutshell, the Renans were originally created from Dahnans by the Helganquil.
Oh, damn. That's probably the last thing I would have thought.
But if that's true, then that would mean there aren't any people on Rena.
There aren't, but there are Helganquil. That's what the name literally means in their language, people of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole new race of people?
Oh great, my controller died. One sec, I'll be back in a few seconds. Let me quickly run and grab the other controller. Okay, we're back. It's a little bit set back. Unfortunately, when I connected my controller, it reset the game again. I don't know why it does that. It's weird, but we're back.
There aren't, but there are Helganquil. That's what the name literally means in their language, people of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole
Yeah,
new race of people?
we're a little bit set back. I had to start back from, so I just had to talk to everyone again.
I trust you're aware that the Helganquil are on the verge of extinction, yes? In essence, we were created to carry on their work for the Great Spirit after they all die. They gathered Dahnans who had an affinity for astral arts and proceeded from there. That's why we, as their descendants, can all cast arts, albeit to varying degrees.
Let me get this straight. Are you saying Renans were originally created from Dahnans that the Helganquil kidnapped?
Wait, that explains why almost nobody can use astral arts on Dahna now.
Helganquil technology is truly amazing. The way they alter
They are
their
really
bodies
more
is
advanced
far
than
less
everyone else.
invasive than your conventional surgeries. They have these tiny machines that are practically invisible, which they insert into their bodies and...
Enough.
I kind of want to see what their actual form looks like.
How can you speak so calmly about all of this?
I guess I can see how, when viewed in a certain light, their ways may sound grotesque. But if you ask me, I think they ultimately did us a favor. They saved us from crawling the earth in ignorance. If it meant their hands had to get a little dirty in the process, then so be it. Anyway, the Helganquil are the real Renans. Personally, I don't think it's such a big deal. They're also mostly the ones behind what you see going on
So
between
that
the
means
two
that goes
planets.
to show how oblivious the
covers
actual
just about
lords were. Like,
everything
they all
worth
thought they were
knowing.
like high and mighty, but then they're all Renans as well.
I see. Thanks for filling us in.
God,
Does he
I mean, at
really
least this
expect us
answered
to
a lot
believe
more
that
questions
Renans
as
never
well.
truly existed? How absurd.
Dohalim.
Just when I think we're getting to the bottom of it all, some new revelation smacks us in the face.
Then let's hope this is our last revelation for a while.
It was like, apologies, a little bit of that was repeated. As I said, like when I switched over to the controls, I don't know why it does it. It did it a while back too. It resets the game for some reason. Luckily, I only started from here, so all I had to do was just talk to her and then him. I tried getting it back to where it was, but I think I may have started a little bit early, but that's pretty much why you just see a little bit of a repeat.
Do you know anything about a spirit channeling plan?
If you mean the first plan from 300 years ago, then yes. Do you know what its main objective was?
Yes. It was to use Lenegis to siphon off Dahna's astral energy and send it to Rena.
Exactly. However, there were two problems we had to consider. First was how to collect and send such a large quantity of astral energy
It went to
without it
Rena.
becoming sentient.
The energy went straight to Lanagus and stopped.
Second, we had to figure out how to convert Dahna's energy so it would be compatible with Rena.
I take it the solutions to those problems were to use the wedge for the collection, and then the Sovereign and Maiden to convert the energy.
We have a winner. However, the first plan failed when the Sovereign was overwhelmed and became frenzied.
That's Elfin.
The reason for that is because the Maiden lost control. I'm told he slaughtered many Renans in Helganquil that day.
Yeah, that was Ren. That was Elfin.
For the next plan, we tried to recreate the Renis Alma, but we didn't have nearly enough of the other non-dark astral energy types. To amend that, we set our sights on Dahna and implemented a system whereby we could extract energy from it.
And the crown contest began.
Correct. Since the Maiden had been the failing point in the previous plan, it was decided to replace her role with machinery to avoid further mishaps. A new Sovereign had to be made as well. It was such tremendously difficult work, its success was dubious. But from the look of things, it would appear such worries were unfounded.
So that's what the purpose of that room we found in the Forbidden
Elfin was
Zone
the original Sovereign, right? Or was there one? No, I don't think there was one
What
before
about the
him.
flower that sprouted from Rena?
There's only one other person that succeeded, was Volra, and Volra
that
was
thing.
after him.
That's the physical manifestation of all the astral energy that's been harvested from Dahna. As I'm sure you've noticed, it's quite a lot of energy. At this point, it's likely that it's become physically integrated with Rena's planetary structure.
Hevrek 35 mentioned that the spirit channeling plan is entering its final stage. Is that true?
It is. I never thought I would live to see the day with my own eyes, and yet here we are. Are we done talking now? If it's all the same to you, I'd really rather not miss anything that's about to happen.
He talks like the potential end of the world is just another day on the job.
You've got to remember that these guys have been living alone up here for a long time. Who knows what shape their minds are in?
It feels like our whole world has been turned upside down. Is there anything we know that's still true at this point?
Seriously, I'm still trying to process the fact that we Renans were created by the Helganquil, let alone the Sovereign and Maiden
Don't even
stuff.
question that they're all Denon.
Let's take a moment to gather ourselves. I know all of this is a lot to believe and take in, but I think it's fair to say that we've found the answers we've been looking for. Does everyone agree?
Agreed. Though I'll admit that I never expected it to all boil down to Rena's great spirit being behind everything.
Everything that's happened, everything we've endured, it's all because of astral energy.
And to get that energy, the Great Spirit took control of the Helganquil. Then the Helganquil created the Renans, who went on to invade and rule over the Dahnans.
Plus, the reason the Great Spirit can't directly control the Renans as well is likely because they were originally Dahnans all along.
Either way, I think it's fair to say we've all had a lot to take in at once. Maybe too much, even. We should probably take it easy and rest our minds a bit.
I'm
Why
going to
don't
be
we all
honest, there
take
was a
some time to
lot of
think things
information
over
there.
before we decide on our next move?
It was a lot.
That's a good idea, Kisara. If the Renan Great Spirit really is behind all this, then we've got a really big fight ahead of us. Because it's not just Dahna on the line, but Rena too. If we're going to do this, we need to be completely sure of ourselves. So let's go ahead and break off for now. We aren't in any immediate danger, so we should be okay. You sure you don't want to be alone right now?
I could ask you the same question.
I figured I'd get all my thinking in while walking around and checking up on everybody.
I'll go along with you. I'm interested to hear what's on everyone's minds too.
So we still got one more floor. I think we got
Sounds
top
good.
floor.
Let's go find them.
There's one other floor we couldn't go to. I'm pretty sure it was the top floor.
Everyone's just gone their own way, huh?
Yeah, let's hit up.
There's an inn here.
Deep spot.
Let's rest up while we're here. Might as well. Defense up. Still on this. I just feel like this is the most useful. At least to me anyway, because I just run out of CP so quickly. Alright, well anyway. We can't actually go upstairs at the moment. Alright, well. Like we're limited to where we can go. After I just healed, I found one collapsed again and helped me back up. Wait, you found me collapsed again and helped me back up. There we go. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks to you, I can continue on going. You know what? Doesn't matter. We got happy bottles. That's all that matters. Too much reading. All right. Anyway.
Oh, it's you two. Does he seem like he's doing any better now?
He who? Oh, you mean Dohalim, don't you?
I know that we're all struggling to wrap our minds around it all, but he looked like he was taking it really hard earlier.
What do you think about everything we've learned? About the Renans and the Great Spirit and all that?
So I'm guessing eventually we're going to go up against his Great Spirit,
I'm not
right?
even really sure what to think, to be honest. I mean, the Great Spirit is like a huge natural disaster, but with a mind and will of its own. But if that thing's hellbent on trying to destroy our planet, then the only thing left for us to do is stop it. As for the Renans, I suppose my feelings on that are a bit more mixed.
How so?
Coexistence between Dahnans and Renans in Menancia is still a work in progress. In my case, I think that's partly because deep down, I was still on guard around Renans. So... to be told that they're like us, that they're actually just like us is... well... I guess it's a little deflating, to be honest.
You kept a pretty level head.
You mean about the Renans? At the end of the day, the Helganquil and the Great Spirit are the ones who are responsible. But
I really hope we get to see whatever their name is, true form.
Necessarily going to believe that either.
Because we know the Red Woman's
you're
not their
already
form, it's
aware
like a
of this,
shapeshift form.
But the list of grievances the Dahnans have against the Renans is long.
Well, that's what they said
and
anyway, unless he
understandably
lied.
so. And if people then find out that they're all actually one and the same, yeah, I don't think they're going to take to it too kindly.
Even just among the Dahnans, I'm sure there'll be some who emerge with power and some who won't. I think if we can find a way to get rid of that imbalance, then we'll be in a truly good place.
Well, first we can try to figure out what to do about the existing conflicts we have.
Yeah. It'd be nice if one day people could learn to get past their hatred like Rinwell did.
It's no small task.
Did she really fully get rid of the hatred though? I don't think she did. Get me wrong, maybe she did, but...
Right. Everybody has their reasons for feeling the way that they do. But if we just keep yelling at each other about it, we'll never move on. In a worst-case scenario, it might lead to even more people getting killed.
And we all have to figure out how to meet halfway. Not just that, but to also embrace each other's pain, in a sense.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
It's true. Everybody has their own scars, their own trauma. The first step to healing those wounds is to put aside that hatred. It won't be achieved.
This is a force. She is literally like the mother of the
but I
group.
think it's a
She
good
just
first
has a
step,
speech for
if nothing
everything.
else. And now, I think I see a way to move forward. But to do that, first we need to make sure our planet isn't going to get wiped out.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate if it did. Also, wait, I want to check something. Oh, not arts. What are your items? The happy bottle. Oh, it's not what I thought it was. Okay, well, that just seems kind of useless. Alright, anyway. Alright, talking.
You both seem awfully calm.
Only because after everything we've seen, we don't have the energy to keep being shocked.
How are you holding up, Rinwell? That whole talk about the Renans looked like it shook you up a bit.
Yeah. I get this sinking feeling whenever I remember how Dan and mages like my family were persecuted and died out. And now, I finally know why that is. But I was thinking, if Renans end up living together with Dahnans again, then mages won't be such an unusual thing to see on Dahna anymore, right?
He's just looking at the positive side for a change.
But Dahnans probably won't be so quick to let their guards down. And there might be Renans who still act superior because of their arts.
It wouldn't surprise me. 300 years of bad blood and prejudice isn't going to be an easy thing to overcome.
Yeah. I know firsthand just how much hatred can take hold in your heart once you let it in. But even so, I was still able to change. And if I can change, so can anyone else. So I was thinking maybe, I don't know, I could use my position as both a Dahnan and a mage to help bring both sides together.
Rinwell.
That great spirit worries me too, though.
I kind of want to see what it looks like. I'm kind of intrigued at what that spirit looks like.
Why is Rena's will trying to destroy our entire planet?
Or is the planet just going to grow
Now that you
eyes?
mention it, Everett 35 and the other scientists here never really brought that up. Maybe they don't know either.
Maybe. But regardless, at the end of the day, Dan is still our home. There's no way we can let it be destroyed.
We won't. We'll keep it safe no matter what.
Well, good thing about Rinwell, she has her conversations real quick. Kisara, on the other hand, always takes like an hour to finish her speech. Also, there were not this many people in here. Where'd they all come from? There was only like 3 people on this floor. Now all of a sudden, just all here.
I still can't believe it, man.
You're not the only one still trying to make sense of all this. Believe me.
Really? You've never struck me as the type of guy to get hung up on these sorts of things.
Did you forget what happened back in Thistleum? Once my memories started coming back to me, I felt completely and totally lost.
It was really that bad for you?
Yeah, it was. But thanks to Law and everybody else, I remembered that I still had things out there worth fighting for.
Man, I think you might be a better guy than me, Alphen. All I can remember thinking was, when's this guy gonna get his act together?
Law.
I was too worried about repeating the same mistakes I'd made back with my dad, and running away from the truth. That was no way to live, and I've tried to stay strong, my way. But all this talk about other races and the world ending, if I can be honest with you guys, it's just all too much for me to handle right now.
I know this is going to sound strange coming from me, but maybe the key is not to worry too much about the big stuff right now.
Oh?
I used to worry all the time about my thorns, for obvious reasons, but I never really opened up to anyone about them. And when I realized my visions pointed to a threat that was bigger than me, I didn't know what I should do, or who to tell. But that's when I finally got it. You guys were all there for me, to teach me what's really important. I just had to open up and listen.
In other words, if you let the big picture stuff get you all muddled up inside, you'll begin to lose sight of what you really care about. Yeah, I think you're right.
The thing that's most important what I really care about. All I want to do is protect the people that really matter to me, to fight for them. That's good enough, right?
Not everyone is strong enough to fight.
Huh?
It's something your dad told me once when he was still alive. Law, you know you're strong enough to fight, and you're strong enough to protect the people you care about. Forget all the big stuff going on. Just don't lose sight of what you want to protect in the first place. Sound good?
Yeah, I think it does. It's like a big weight's been lifted off my shoulders. I'll fight to protect the people around me. Just like I always have. I think that's best.
A little bit longer of a conversation, but again, he gets straight to the point. Alright, where's... Oh, there's Bolsef. Not Bols... I don't know why I said Bolsef. Not Volren either. Dullheim. There we go. Third time was the charm.
You mean hearing the origins of the Renans?
Indeed. It's shocking to have so many things I thought to be indelible fade away in mere seconds.
Even I'm still not sure everything we've heard here is actually true.
Let's not delude ourselves. If what we've heard is a lie, it's a rather elaborate one. I can only imagine that you must have been constantly feeling like this, ever since your memory returned, Alphen. And you as well, Shion. About your thorns, and being a maiden.
That's just part of being alive, don't you think?
Well, to say the least. But enough about me. I'm not concerned for myself. What concerns me is all of the other Renans out there.
When you say the other Renans, you mean the ones that are living on Lenegis or Dahna, right?
Correct. Even if we stop the Great Spirit from annihilating Dahna, our problems will still remain. Putting aside the untold state that Rena may be in, if we do not truly belong there, we will have to think long and hard about where it is that we wish to return to.
So, I guess your only real choices at this point are to either stay on Lenegis or come down to Dahna, huh? And right now, Lenegis might not even be a safe option.
And at the same time, Dahnans are hardly likely to embrace Renans with open arms. If the issue is forced, things could turn dire.
It does sound like a pretty shitty position to be in. It kind of sounds like a lost when you like really think about it.
Absolutely every right to feel animosity towards us Renans. Our own circumstances as the aggressors are irrelevant.
I didn't expect the former Lord of Menancia to be so down about people reconciling.
Menancia's fate was a stroke of good luck. There had been backlash over how it had been ruled, and I was blessed to have sympathizers among my ranks. Still, even now, there remain ardent dissidents.
But things can still change if you have the right people to help lead the way. Isn't that what you hope to achieve on Lenegis, after this is all over?
Indeed. I have fully accepted the burden of that responsibility. In that regard, I remain determined. On that note, I have something of a favor to ask of you, Alphen.
Oh? What is it?
I wish for you to serve as a mediator so that the Renans can live on Dahna peaceably. As the one and only blazing sword, I suspect the Dahnans may listen to what you have to say when problems arise.
And I take it that you'll be the one to represent the Renans?
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest, even though he is the blazing sword or whatever they call him, I feel like that's just not going to be enough. With all the stuff that's going on, I feel like they're just still not going to accept them so easily.
You're the same as ever, Dohalim.
Is it too much?
No, relax. You get so tense and formal when you're asking for a favor. Listen, there's no need for that. We're friends.
You're too kind. I can see you were raised well.
That's some high praise, Alphen.
Then I'll ask once again, this time just as friends. Alphen, will you help me?
You don't even need to ask. Of course I will.
Thank you, my friend.
This is just completely random while thinking. Actually, I'll wait till after this.
It sounds like everyone's learning from their past and using it to create a better future for everyone.
What about you, Shion? How do you feel about the origin of the Renans?
To be honest, I'm not really all that shocked, actually. I mean, I might be a Renan in the literal sense, but I've never really felt like one of them. Right now, it's kind of a mystery.
How do you mean?
Because for a really, really long time, all I ever thought about was how I was going to die. Not if or when, but how. I thought I'd die alone. That fate had me in its steely grip. I would have never imagined that I'd be traveling with someone like you, fighting to save Rena and Dahna. I mean, how could I have? It's been going on for 300 years. All this tragedy and destruction. When you consider the Helganquil's part in all this, it's been even longer than that. It was Naori's hope that somehow, someone in the future would be able to stop it, before it was too late. How it fell on us, of all people, to heed that call, is a mystery.
I don't think Naori was hoping that we would just stop the world from getting destroyed. She considered me, a Dahnan, as a real person. And she very much cherished her own people, too. I don't think she wanted the world to be saved, just so they could go back to hurting each other. Oh, maybe this is what she meant.
Huh?
When we were talking to Kisara earlier, about all that stuff like everyone's needing to meet halfway and embrace each other's pain and suffering. She said that the first step down that path was for each of us to put aside our own hatred. That means forgiving other people, even and especially before they forgive you.
Forgiving. So it goes both ways, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I don't just mean forgiving things that happened in the past either. Conflicts will keep happening. If we have any hope of moving on and building a better future, we have to all learn to forgive each other.
You know, you're right. People can hurt one another without even meaning to. I know that better than most, thanks to these thorns.
It's not going to be easy getting past this pain. But if we can do it, I'm sure there'll come a time when we can all truly understand each other. I'm there with you, Shion. I too want to protect the world we live in, and all the people we care about. I think that's the very least I can do to repay Naori for everything that she did.
Yeah. I want a future that she would feel proud to live in, and I'm going to fight for it.
Whoa there, Savior Girl. We're here to save you too, you know.
Yes, I know. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. I want to live, and that's the honest truth.
Alright, what I was gonna say is, like with the obviously since he lost the mask, he's going back to feeling pain again, which obviously means that he's gonna feel it from the sword. Wouldn't he feel the?
Well,
oh, I'm still talking.
ready to
Oh,
do
whatever.
what needs to be done?
Wouldn't he still feel the sword on his back? Like, wouldn't it just
There's a
burn
lot
his
to
back?
think about, but at the end of the day, Dahna's still in danger.
It's still technically on him,
I don't
unless it's
care
like
who we're up
hovers.
against. We'll kick their ass.
What are your thoughts, Alphen? I want to know what's on your mind, too.
Like Law said, if we have to fight the Great Spirit on Rena, then so be it. It's trying to rob us of our entire world. And it's going to take not just our home, but all of existence along with it. That alone is enough to make it our enemy. But it's not only that. One way or another, I think beating the Great Spirit is going to be tied to us saving Shion.
You're saying there's a chance?
You're referring to the vision of destruction we all saw in Lenegis, I take it?
Yeah. 3 centuries ago, the astral energy that appeared at the spirit channeling ceremony showed Naori that vision. And to hear Shion tell it, it's the same one that she sees from her own thorns as well.
Indeed. Shion's thorns are comprised of dark astral energy, the one type which we know is native only to Rena. And if Rena's great spirit is what's behind Dahna's pending destruction, then...
Shion's thorns are the Great Spirit? It's not actually on Rena like we thought?
Wait,
We don't know anything for certain. At the very least, though, I think
the
it's possible her
thorns?
thorns are a part of the Great Spirit.
While the main
That'd make it
body
like
resides
extremely
in Rena.
powerful, wouldn't it? Well, I guess yeah, because the sovereign power is failing to, well, not failing, struggling to hold it back.
Shion.
If these thorns really are a part of Rena's Great Spirit, I'm going to go over there and give it a piece of my mind and then some.
The question is, how do we confront it? Suffice it to say, that flower growing out of
Going
Rena is
up against the
enormous,
spirit, she
large enough
should
to
just
house the
let
weight
her
of an
thorns go
entire planet.
wild. I'm sure those thorns will strike her
The
down.
Wedge and Lenegis were both hard enough for us to overcome in their own right. This is an altogether greater challenge for merely 6.
Nope.
And we only know about the Thorns
My bad.
connection thanks to Naori.
It goes blank. If you leave it for a little bit and this has been non-stop conversation. But the past 20
Everett
minutes.
35 has been observing the great astral spirit this whole time. It wouldn't ask us to fight it unless it has a plan of some sort. Let's go see what that is.
Yep, well, we're back. I kind of want to see what's on this.
Our minds are
There's
made
one
up.
floor that I didn't
Let's go
check, the
give
upper
Everett
floor.
35 our
I'm curious what's here. There might not be anything here, but it's just a floor that has been off to me for a while, so I kind of want to see what's up here. It has me intrigued. Again, it could just be completely nothing up. Oh. Wait, why are we so far away? I swear we weren't that far away. Cool place. I don't know. I'm pretty sure we were a lot closer than that when we first saw this place, but why argue with it? Anyway, I believe it was the central we had to go to. Yeah, it is. Oh my god. The frames just kind of died there for a second.
Do you have your answer for me?
We want to ask something first. You're asking us to fight an entire planet. How exactly do you expect us to do that? You must have something up your sleeve, or else you wouldn't put us up to it.
The great astral spirit is an immense being, but its actual will does not run throughout its entire body. Rather, its will is derived from the core, which supports the rest of the body, and is where its strength is most densely concentrated. Therefore, if you destroy the core, the great spirit shall become unable to maintain sentience, and return to being ordinary astral energy.
And how are we supposed to destroy that core?
By using the Renis Alma. You will also need the assistance of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. They are our best tools for suppressing and controlling astral energy. Using their powers, the Maiden shall seal the great astral
But couldn't
spirit within her
Valoran just
body,
interfere with
and
all
the
that?
Sovereign shall wield the power of the Renis Alma to destroy it.
Hold on. That sounds a lot like what Shion described before.
Yeah, killing herself to take out the Thorns with her.
She was actually right all along.
By my calculations, your powers combined should be sufficient to destroy the great astral spirit and disperse its energy widely enough to make it difficult to reform.
What will happen to the Maiden once we manage to beat the great astral spirit?
Any matter contained within the field of destruction shall be erased.
So it really will kill me.
This method is the most simple one available to destroy the great spirit, and is therefore our most reliable option.
They'll find another way,
What
surely.
are our other options?
There is little reason to consider alternative courses of action when the most optimal among them is so clear.
You don't get it. I promised Shion that she wouldn't die, that we'd save the world without needing to sacrifice her. We didn't fight this whole time just to give up on her at the very end. If there's any other way to take out the Great Spirit, I want to hear it.
This plan shall lead to the fewest losses in preserving your world. Abandoning it is irrational.
That's...
It is vital that you proceed with this plan. A part of Rena's great astral spirit already resides within her. 300 years ago, the Great Spirit descended upon Lenegis in an attempt to assume direct control of the spirit channeling ceremony. We have reason to believe the Great Spirit left part of itself behind, and that it now resides in the Maiden.
To the Thorns.
Which would make Alphen's earlier hypothesis correct.
That part inside the Maiden belongs to the core, and can be used by the great astral spirit to revive itself. So long as it remains, it will be all but impossible to fully eradicate the Great Spirit. That is why it is necessary for it to be vanquished only once it is whole. Without the Maiden's direct control over the Great Spirit, attacking it is futile and will only serve to strengthen it.
I feel like this greater spirit's gonna be a nightmare to fight. I feel like it's gonna be like 20 levels higher than me.
Naori said that the Renis Alma can suppress the self-realization of astral energy, and that the thorns can be neutralized by placing them in it. If so, can't the same also be done to the Great Spirit, seeing as the thorns are simply part of it?
Well, can it?
It is true that the Renis Alma is capable of what you suggest, and could contain the great astral spirit.
Yes!
However, doing so requires fine control on the level of the spirit channeling ceremony, considering that the Renis Alma was previously lost when that ceremony failed. I cannot allow it. Its uncertainty is simply
Gotta be honest,
great.
even if he didn't allow it, there's not much he can do. He's stuck in a tube. I don't think he can
will not be
move.
restored, and you will all be unable to leave here.
Why you?
Fine then. I'd rather stay here and rot than do it your way.
Alphen?
Whatever we do, if we mess up, Dahna's screwed. The Great Spirit will destroy it. If you're fine letting that happen, and we have nothing to gain either way, then I'd rather do nothing. We want to stop Dahna from getting destroyed. We want to save it. But not if it means having to sacrifice one of us in the process. If all you're gonna do is sit back and watch us where it's safe, then quit ordering us around and shut up!
Alphen.
That's what you talk to that test tube doll.
What you say is irrational. Be that as it may, I shall accede to your demand.
You'll agree?
I am an observer. The Sovereign, Maiden, and Renis Alma are my species' greatest achievement. I wish to see how well they work against the Great Spirit in light of our demise by its hands.
But what are we supposed to do about the Renis Alma? One of your buddies ran off with it back on Lenegis.
It is likely that the Renis Alma is with the Great Spirit, functioning as a catalyst for it to receive Dahna's astral energy.
So our only option to retrieve it is to head straight for the Great Spirit and take it back?
According to my observations, the astral energy is most densely concentrated in the center of Rena, where the Great Spirit's core is located.
So right in the middle of that giant flower then.
I have one more question. You've said that Rena's great astral spirit is already integrated with the planet. What will happen to Rena once it vanishes?
Without the will of the Great Spirit, Rena is predicted to collapse. Even in such a scenario, the energy will disperse, and the Great Spirit will likely not reform.
So you're saying that even if we manage to beat the Great Spirit without destroying it, we'll still be in danger?
Likely, the collapse will occur in stages. It is recommended that you all escape before the final stage.
Man, I wish that thing would tell it to us straight for once.
Havrek 35 and the others have gotten used to hypothesizing from afar is all.
Yeah, I didn't realize how far away that spaceship was. I honestly thought it was a lot closer than what it was, but the thing's like microscopic. when you look out the window.
Fix our starship. We're going to Rena.
Excellent.
But I want to make one thing clear. We're doing this for ourselves, to protect what matters to us. We're not doing it for your sake, or because you told us to. Remember that.
It matters little to me. The end result shall be the same. Repair work on your starship has commenced. You'll have to wait until it's finished.
Didn't even realize it was damaged. I just thought it got frozen.
Is it too much to ask for Hevrick 35
Hey, we
to
got the
talk
truth.
like a normal person? I swear I can feel my brain starting to fry.
Hey, let's at least get to
Complicated stuff.
Don't worry.
Rena. Then we might call the episode here because I feel like we're getting into the last, like, I don't know. I feel like we're getting close to the end. Maybe an episode or two, maybe 3. I don't know. I feel like Rena's going to be decent size, and maybe 3. I don't know. It'll take some time to completely repair your starship. I suggest that you all get some rest in the. Sure. No, we healed up before, so we didn't really need to, but me, it's fine.
You still thinking about what the scientists told us? About where Renans really come from?
I am, but not for myself.
You're worried about the future of the Renan people.
The fact that our people have been the same this whole time will only give the Dahnans further reason to resent us.
But you still intend to confront this truth head-on, don't you?
Well, I did declare that I would live my life for the living, and not the dead. Even as I dream of retirement, I shall remain dedicated to the cause.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Now that I think about it, I don't believe I've ever heard you criticize or reproach us Renans even once.
I'm no saint. I have skeletons in my closet too. There was definitely a time when I hated Renans for who they were. I hated them just for being Renan. But you changed that, Dohalim. You gave me an opportunity to see them in a different light. Thanks to your reforms, we were able to stand next to Renans not as slaves, but as equals for the first time in our lives. Of course, I'm sure there were some Renans who still hated us on the inside. But we knew that not all of you were like that. There were those of you who were good, and that was a start. When it comes down to it, Renans are just people. They can be good or bad, just like Dahnans.
That is, in essence, the heart of your approach, isn't it? That we're all people.
Yeah, it is. When you can pull someone aside and talk to them one-on-one, then you have the chance to come to an understanding. But as soon as you stereotype, that chance goes away, and you stop thinking of them as people that you can relate to.
I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about massive numbers of Renans and Dahnans alike. Realistically speaking, surely they won't all be able to get along.
Even if we end up butting heads with one person, maybe we'll find better luck among their friends. If we can build a society that works like that, that'll be something worth nurturing and protecting.
So you wish for people to form real bonds and do away with the hierarchy outright? To deal with one another as humans, and nothing more? That's the ideal future you hope to see when this is all over?
Yes, I do. I think it would make for a fine tribute to my brother's legacy. Though, that said, I would be doing it for the people of the future first and foremost.
As I said, she always has like a full-on novel of a speech whenever she opens her mouth.
Indeed I do. I don't know whether I'll be able to reside in Lenegis proper, however. My first order of business may be to find somewhere to live.
You'll always have a home in Menancia, you know.
As I shall ever keep in mind.
Well, if you ever need a helping hand, don't
I still ship
come
them.
get me.
By the end of
I'll
this,
always be
hey,
there for
they're
you.
all getting
Duh.
together with someone. Laurel got with the Rimwell,
Did you just...
Alpha and Shion,
Never mind.
Dolium and Kisara.
Thank you, Kisara.
I'd be surprised if it's anything else.
I appreciate your patience as I work all this out.
Don't even mention it. And really, when you think about it, now that we know the two of us aren't so different after all, don't you think that brings down a barrier that used to be between us?
You know, I hadn't actually thought of it that way before. But I do like the sound of it.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Well, I mean, at least we got a lot of information about the Renans. So we'll probably get to Rena, and then we might... Oh, okay, I guess we're all gonna have a conversation with each other.
Hey, why'd you call me here? Was there something you wanted to talk about?
Well, if everything we've heard about the Great Spirit is true, then we're getting close to our final battle. So I wanted to apologize while I can.
Apologize? For what?
I was being real stupid before, about whether Dahna's will had been controlling us and all that. I get why you're angry now. Anybody would be if something they trusted was being questioned. So, I'm sorry.
Oh, fairness, you can't really blame him for thinking.
I should have kept my mouth shut.
No, Law. Honestly, I think you might have been onto something. Of course you were worried. Who wouldn't be if they found out there might be some invisible force pulling our strings this whole time?
But you really trust Dahna's will, don't you? Is it because you can sense it a lot more than the rest of us? Because you can understand it?
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. But I think I also want to believe it's good.
Believe?
Remember how I used to really resent coming from a family of mages?
Yeah, of course. Because you were always on the run and had to live in hiding.
When we rescued Zephyr and I finally decided to come along with you all, something changed inside me. It was the first time I felt like my powers had any meaning, even if that meaning was only helping you guys fight. Then, when I felt Dahna's will, I was overwhelmed by how vast and warm it was. It made me want to believe my powers were made to connect with it. It made me believe I had a bigger purpose.
So that's why you hope it doesn't turn out to be bad. You almost need it to be kind.
Yeah.
Well, alright. Then I promise I'll lay off bad-mouthing it.
You will?
There's no way for me to know for sure one way or the other, right? But you trust it, Rinwell, and that's enough for me. So I'll trust it because you do.
Remember what I said about neither planet's great spirit reaching us here?
Yeah?
That's not quite true. I can feel just a little bit of Rena's inside you and everyone else.
You... what?
I sensed it when we first got here. It's a really small amount, so it doesn't feel like it has a will of its own. But I think that's how Dahna's energy probably is too.
We're gonna get there and we're just all gonna somehow be magically mind controlled by the spirit.
In a way, doesn't that mean we're all Dahna's will?
What?
Well, like you said, unless Dahna's energy comes together, it has no will. So if we all have a little bit of Dahna's astral energy inside us...
Yeah, maybe...
It also means that we're Rena's will as well, if he's gone by that logic.
But, you know what? I don't need to ask it. My will is my own. I fight for who I want to fight for. That's who I am now. Who I've become. So thanks, Rinwell, for sharing that with me.
Ah.
To be honest, the only reason I was suspicious of Dahna's will Well, I mean, it mostly was... I feel like you and I had grown apart lately, and I was worried it was because...
Huh?
Never mind.
Told you.
Nothing. Just forget about it.
Huh? No, what were you
They're
saying?
crushing.
Saying? I don't remember
Come
saying
on.
anything.
Now you won't tell me what you were
No,
thinking?
that's not what I'm saying.
Then spit it out already.
Told ya, they're crushing. Don't care what anyone says. And it's obvious that Shion and Elfin are. And it's pretty obvious that Kisara. No, look, it looks closer now.
You sure you don't want to get some rest?
I can't. I've got too much on my mind. Especially knowing how close our last battle is. How are you doing, Shion?
Same as you, still trying to absorb everything.
Remember when it was so simple? We were only fighting all the lords on Dahna? All of that feels like a lifetime
Oh my
ago,
god,
doesn't
this is
it?
how long the cutscene's been going for.
Ages and ages ago.
Xbox keeps turning off.
Everything that's happened since we first met. So many fights, so much chaos, so many wonderful people.
If I hadn't run into you that day, well, I wouldn't have met all of you. I never would have held the blazing sword or looked for something more. I wouldn't
Oh,
have my memories
don't know
back.
how his clothes
Still
don't
be a
catch
faceless
fire.
slave.
Because he
Like
clearly
there's
gets
no
burnt
one
when he
dead.
holds it, which means it's always burning. This is fireproof gear.
Hey, Alphen, I want you to promise me something.
Yeah?
If we can't find the Rena's Alma, there's something I want you to do. Like Hevrect 35 said, the only way we can end the Great Spirit for good is to go after both the main body in Rena and the thorns in me. I need you to promise me, Alphen, that if for some reason we can't get the Rena's Alma back, you'll use the blazing sword to destroy the Great Spirit, and me along with it.
Huh?
It's true the blazing sword may not have the strength of the Rena's Alma. But it's taken us this far. It's slain lords and beasts. At the very least, it has to be worth a try.
You can't be serious. Have you forgotten everything that
Listen,
we've...
the Great Spirit isn't just our problem. It's a threat to our entire world. Renans and Dahnans alike. We don't know what's going to happen when we face it, but we need to be prepared for anything. We can't second-guess ourselves when the time comes. I promise you, I'm not planning on going anywhere. I'm prepared to fight with absolutely everything I've got.
I still think she should just use the
But if it
thorns
comes
to
down
fight
to
it. It might
I
come
need
with
you
like
to be
a huge
prepared.
drawback, but I mean, if she can control the thorns, I'm sure it will do damage.
Okay. But you should know that I'm not going to give up on you, Shion. I'm going to fight this until the very end. I hope you can forgive me for that.
Alphen. Okay, I understand. And I'll forgive you.
Thank you, Shion.
So it's a promise then?
Yeah, it's a promise.
They look like they're royals dressed up to get married. Just saying.
I remember how I felt the first time you touched me.
Oh.
My
Thank you.
thorns made any contact a mistake no one would ever make twice. After they'd seen what could happen, fear would always linger behind their eyes. In my entire life, I never had someone willingly reach out to me. But when you reached out to me and gently took my hand, You didn't react at all. It was so easy for you. I don't have words for the shock I felt in that moment.
That's because I couldn't feel pain back then.
Even once you could, though, you still chose to keep reaching out to me. And when you did, I felt this warmth that I had never known before. But still,
She showed the thorns in his
I hate
face.
having to see you suffer through it every time you do.
You won't have to worry about that for much longer.
You think so?
I do, because Shion,
No. You can tell me once my thorns are gone. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
It looks a lot closer than when I looked out the window. Also, while they're all having their own little conversation, Dahna is officially being destroyed. Should probably, I don't know, maybe speed it up a little bit. Before their planet's gone, before they can do anything about it.
Everybody get enough rest? We ready for this?
Yeah, we should probably get moving.
Agreed. Can't stand around waiting all day.
Our task is relatively straightforward. We need only descend down to Rena, defeat the Great Spirit, and restore stability to both worlds.
We're fighting for a new future for both Dahna and Rena.
Right. We've come this far. We will save our worlds. That's a promise.
Then let's go, everybody. We've got one last wall to tear down.
Repairs on your starship are complete. Everything is in working
Yeah,
order.
it sounds like we might have, I don't know,
Is that
maybe an
you,
episode or
Headlight
two
35?
left.
You
We're
can see
finally
us
getting to
from
the
where
end
you
of this
are?
game. It's a really long game, I will give
I
it that.
can. I can see anywhere within the bounds of Dake Phasal.
Sounds like someone's a peeping Tom.
Maybe we should give Hevrect 35 a break. It has been stuck in this tiny facility for a very, very long time.
I have unlocked all functions on your starship. You can now make use of its warp drive.
Warp drive? Wait, you mean like what the Red Women used on us? What brought us here?
It's possible that the Red Women may have found a way to activate it on the starship. They are Helganquil, after all.
Using the warp drive, you should be able to breach Rena's atmosphere without being detected.
Wait, should?
You'll need to be careful. Due to the force field surrounding Rena, the ship will be unable to go any further than the surface of the planet.
What's lower than the surface?
So, once we reach the shell, it appears we'll have to infiltrate the core by foot. Understood.
We gotta go all the way down just walking?
Will all the Helganquil go back to normal once we defeat the Great Spirit? I have a strange feeling we're going to have to fight them before this is all over.
The extinction of my people is inevitable at this stage. As such,
I hope we
it
get
would
to see
be
what they actually
illogical
look
to
like. I'm
risk the
kind of
success
curious.
of the mission in a vain attempt to save my kind.
We understand.
Can't that thing lighten up a bit? Everything it says seems to be about what's illogical.
Well, come on, Doe.
Hold up, did you just...
You heard the lady. Get going.
I have one last question.
What?
As Sovereign, your identification number indicates that you are well past your predicted life expectancy. Similarly, the Maiden lacks any identification number, as her function should have been rendered unnecessary. Despite this, the two of you continue to exist. Why?
Wow.
We exist
Nosy.
because others have entrusted this to us. Over the years, many people have come together and sworn to see this through to the end.
You mean it is because of multiple chance interactions? The likelihood of such events is statistically improbable. Why have you two continued to persist under these conditions?
It's hard to explain. To be honest, I don't think it's something an observer could understand. All right, time to get back on the fall
Yeah.
nights.
Anyway, I think this is going to be a good enough spot to end. I know we didn't really do anything too out there this episode. It was more just getting a lot of questions answered, but expect tomorrow's episode is going to be pretty chocked full of I mean, we're going to Rena. I'm guessing we're going to have a lot of things seeing us as we get there, so tomorrow's probably going to just be, I don't know, depending, I mean, we're definitely heading to the end of the game. I don't think there's going to be anything else after the Astral. I mean, we might go up against Volran again, because Volran still wants to kill Elf for some unknown reason. But yeah, I do hope you enjoyed this episode. As I said, it's a little more quiet this episode. I mean, a lot of it was just more talking, because actually, majority of it's just Kisara talking, because she just writes a full novel before she speaks. But yeah, anyway, I mean, again, like, we're getting more, we've had a lot more questions answered, and not really, like, we've pretty much got majority of the questions now. I mean, for the last couple of episodes, we've just been getting a lot more, but now this episode answered a lot, especially all, like, the truth about the Renans and all that, which is still crazy to me. Like, that was not really something that ever crossed my mind at all. But yeah, anyway, tomorrow we'll go to Rena, we'll see what happens. We might go up against Astral Energy, or we might go up against some other bosses that are in the way. I don't know how many bosses are left. I could look it up, but I just don't want to spoil it for me. But anyway, that being said, I do hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button when the videos go live, and as I said at the start of this episode, I'm hoping today Guardians and Demon Slayer will go up. They haven't been up for 2 days. Well, I think today's technically the second day or the third day. The reason for that, if you haven't been watching the videos or paying attention, the videos have been blocked due to the music on it. It's been blocked pretty much to 90% of my audience. I could have uploaded it, but you wouldn't have been able to watch it, so it would have just been there for no reason anyway. So I've had to get rid of all the songs. I mean, Demon Slayer got hit pretty hard. It got hit with like six songs, and 2 of them were like 58 minutes long, so it was just ridiculously stupid. But yeah, anyway, that being said, I might be back late today if they're done. If not, I'll be back again tomorrow. So until then, take care and peace out.